He caused a riot on Capitol Hill. He'll burn America to the ground to help himself.
He will burn America to the ground. Christie is talking about Donald Trump, and this attack, the harshest of the campaign, is part of a $1 million ad blitz in New Hampshire, the biggest expenditure so far in this race.
Some people say I should drop out of this race. Really? I'm the only one saying Donald Trump is a liar. He pits Americans against each other. His Christmas message to anyone who disagrees with him? Rotten hell.
The Christie attack amounts to a political Hail Mary. He is slightly behind Nikki Haley in New Hampshire and trailing Donald Trump in the Granite State by double digits. New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, who is backing Haley, wants Christie to drop out and endorse her.
So if Chris is true to his message about defeating Trump, you know, he'll understand that the voters are coming. I think he's going to make the right decision eventually, and ensure that this is a two-person race where if Trump can't get 50% of the vote, which he cannot in New Hampshire, then he's in trouble. And finally, we can start moving forward as a party, bringing everyone together.
But Haley's criticism of Trump has been soft, and she said she is open to being Trump's running mate. That has disgusted Chris Christie, who says Trump is a threat to democracy.
Every Republican leader says that in private. I'm the only one saying it in public. What kind of president do we want? A liar or someone who's got the guts to tell the truth? New Hampshire, it's up to you. I'm Chris Christie, and you bet I approve this message.
The effort by Chris Christie is an intriguing one. Many of his own supporters do not believe he can catch up to Trump in a five-person race in New Hampshire. But if Christie can finish second, he could justifiably claim that he is the top Trump alternative and that hammering the indicted ex-president is the best way to purify the GOP and wrestle away the Republican presidential nomination. But in order to coalesce anti-Trump Republican voters, activists, and lawmakers around Christie, the former New Jersey governor first has to leapfrog ahead of former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. And party strategists believe events in recent days have given Christie a huge opportunity. At a town hall in New Hampshire, Haley was asked what caused the Civil War and refused to say slavery.
I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. I mean, I think it always comes down to the role of government.
And in the year 2023, it's astonishing to me that you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
The condemnation of Haley across the political spectrum has been harsh, and that includes a unique critique from Chris Christie, who describes Haley not as a racist, but as a conservative political opportunist.
Don't get confused about what she's been saying and what she and her, new political husband, Chris Sununu, are trying to mop up all around New Hampshire, okay? She didn't say what she said last night and today about this because she's dumb. She's not. She's smart, and she knows better. And she didn't say it because she's a racist, because she's not. I know her well, and I don't believe Nikki has a racist bone in her body. But for purposes of this race, the reason she did it is just as bad, if not worse. And she get everybody concerned about her candidacy. She did it because she's unwilling to offend anyone by telling the truth.
There was no polling over the holidays after Haley's gaffe, but there are plenty of indications that Christie is closing the gap, thanks to Haley's stumble, but also thanks to Christie blanketing New Hampshire with campaign commercials. And so Chris Christie is literally throwing everything he has at New Hampshire in the hopes that he will shock the political world, emerge as the top Trump alternative, and get the political rocket fuel and campaign cash he would need to keep battling Trump in all of the nomination contests ahead. Christie also believes that time may be on the side of whoever is the leading anti-Trump. And that's because Trump's criminal trials are scheduled to begin in a few months. And most legal experts believe Trump will be convicted. Christie himself once served as a federal prosecutor and has been stating repeatedly that guilty verdicts are coming.
And I think we deserve better as the Republican Party and as the United States than a guy who's going to be convicted of felonies this April to be our nominee and to try to be our president.
By a bunch of liberal Democrats that are trying to take him down because they fear him.
And that was Newsmax anchor Eric Bolling spewing Donald Trump talking points. Chris Christie responded by destroying bowling.
No.
Guess what? If
No.
Chris Christie was
not by a bunch of liberal
53%,
Democrats.
they
No.
probably have your butt in the
I'm not gonna
courtroom
put,
too.
No, I'm not going to put up with you saying that. He's going to be convicted by Mark Meadows, a founder of the Freedom Caucus, and his chief of staff, who he called the next James Baker. That guy is now testifying and will sit 20 feet away from Donald Trump in a courtroom, taking an oath and saying he committed crimes and he directed others to commit crimes, including me. That's what he's going to say.
All right.
And that's not some woke prosecutor. That's not some group of liberals. That's a guy who founded the Freedom Caucus in the House, a Republican from North Carolina, and his choice for chief of staff. Eric, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm a character guy. And when Mark Meadows gets on that stand, everything I've been saying about Donald Trump that you've been making fun of me about for months is going to wind up being true.
Christie's throwdowns with Trump apologists in the media have become legendary. Several weeks ago, Christie blasted Trump's actions on January the 6th and steamrolled another Newsmax anchor who tried to defend Trump.
Let's look at the conduct. His conduct on January 6th was reprehensible.
We disagree with that assessment.
Well, I don't know how you can. You stand
Peacefully and patriotically is how you can. That's
well,
what he said that day.
let me tell you something. That's not what he did.
That's what he said.
No, well, it's not what he did.
But
He then told them to march up to the Capitol. He knew that there were people in that
Peacefully
audience
and
with
patriotically,
weapons.
though,
Look,
right?
No. That's not all he said.
Right.
You can focus on those three words.
That's a quote. You're paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing as well. But there are arguments on both sides, right?
Well, no, there's not arguments on both sides, because when you incite people, as he did that day, and you see what the result is, even if he didn't intend for them to be violent, he saw them become violent, and he sat by and did nothing for 3 hours, watched it on television from the White House. It did nothing to get people to stop it.
For all of Christie's media appearances, and he does seem to be everywhere, Christie has shown great deference to New Hampshire's political tradition of town halls. By most accounts, the former New Jersey governor has done more town halls in New Hampshire than any other Republican candidate. He has answered all questions and responded to criticisms directly. Christie has admitted previous mistakes and also has built up a following from New Hampshire voters who see him doing what voters in New Hampshire expect, and that is working in community after community to meet everybody, address their concerns, and engage on countless issues across the board.
And the greatest thing about this country is, you want to try to change your country, you stand up and you go to work and you try to make it better and you set an example and you fight for the things you believe in. And that's what I'm doing every day up here, and what I'm going to continue to do, because I love this country too much for us to give up on it.
Will it pay off for Chris Christie? Will New Hampshire tell the nation that Christie should be the top Trump alternative? The New Hampshire primary is coming soon, and voters in the Granite State do have a history of delivering political surprises. By the way, over the holidays, Donald Trump faced some new criticism, this time over his personal hygiene.
So take like armpits, ketchup, like a butt, and kind of put it in a blender, and makeup. That's kind of that. But it's amazing. Like, I've been amazed that, everybody's just kind of like learning about this now.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.